SportsCenter, the Reds try to nail the Braves and avoid a sweep. The Express was right on track with Nolan rolling against the A's. In Detroit, it was old folks night as aging Blue Jays take flight. But in Philly, would Delino's two Jacks be four of a kind? San Diego sluggers go back-to-back, back-to-back. The real deal gets a real big deal. In fact, Shaq will rack up the biggest pact. We'll explain how Chuck Knox will coach his old team, which is his new team, against his old team. Up north, we glare at a bottled rocket. SportsCenter is no political football, but you can bet we'll show you the ropes next. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of SportsCenter. Linda Cohn here along with Jack Edwards. And Mickey, Goofy, and Donald are dancing in Orlando because Shaquille O'Neal is expected to become an official member of the Magic sometime today.
Well, they were up all night working on the contract, writing commas and zeros and all that stuff. We'll have the business news in just a couple of minutes. First, we go to our live Olympic update desk, and Bill Patrick, who is in the final weekday of washing down his two Vivarin with that extra caffeinated coffee. Bill?
Thank you so much. And by the way, Jack, this is my natural pre-dawn look. Good morning, everybody. Day 13 of the competition in Barcelona. Things tightening up considerably. Just one medal separated the United States from first place in the unified team in the medal count after yesterday's competition. Let's start with the big news of the morning, and that comes in wrestling. American John Smith entered the Olympiad having never lost a match in world or Olympic competition, but that record is now history because he lost this morning to Lazaro Reynoso of Cuba, 3-1 in overtime. Smith, the favorite in the 62-kilo division. Reynoso is the guy who handed Smith his last loss 2 years ago, that one also in overtime. Despite the loss, Smith still gets to wrestle for gold tonight because he accumulated enough positive points to qualify for the final. Also, Americans Kevin Jackson and 37-year-old Chris Campbell advanced this morning as they won their matches, but tough luck for Kendall Cross, who lost this morning, taking him out of medal contention. In boxing, American Tim Austin was a loser this morning to Raul Gonzalez of Cuba. The referee stopped the fight in the first round after Austin was poked in the left eye, but he will take home the bronze medal anyway. Cuban fighters, by the way, are now 37-3 in the Olympics. 5 gold medals up for grabs at Olympic Stadium. Maybe the most exciting track and field event of the Games gets underway today. It's the men's 4x100 relay. And historically, it's been all or nothing for the U.S. in that event. In 17 Olympiads, the Americans have won the gold 13 times, been disqualified in 3, and, of course, boycotted once. And qualifying is underway. The 4x100 team of Mike Marsh, Leroy Burrell, Dennis Mitchell, and James Jett cruised through the first round. Their time was 38.95. Carl Lewis is expected to replace Jett in the anchor position for the rest of the competition. In the men's javelin, Tom Puxtis qualified with the second-best throw of the day behind former world record holder Jan Zalesny of Czechoslovakia. American Mike Barnett also qualified, but Brian Krauser did not. One final in from track and field. Andrei Perloff of the unified team wins in a walk, the 50-kilometer walk, to widen the medal lead over the U.S. Carlos Mercenario of Mexico took the silver. Germany's Ronald Weigel finished third for the bronze. There were 2 U.S.-Brazil showdowns today in basketball, one already in the books. First of all, the American men will play for gold, or a shot rather at gold, later on today. Meanwhile, the U.S. women, they lost their chance to win their first Olympic gold medal when they dropped a 5-setter to Cuba yesterday. Well, they regrouped and they took on Brazil for the bronze this morning, and it is over. The women have won the bronze medal as they swept the Brazilians, and for the United States, it was just their second Olympic medal ever in women's volleyball. In men's semifinal action, back on day 1 of the Olympics, Cuba beat the Dutch team 3-1. Today, well, turnabout is fair play. As the Netherlands came through when it counted the most, they swept the Cubans 15-11, 15-13, 15-9. The Dutch are in the gold medal matchup now against either the U.S. or Brazil. Men's tennis, the doubles gold medal match is well underway. The German team of Boris Becker and Michael Stich taking on the South African team of Wayne Ferreira and Pete Norville. And it is now in the 4th set with the Germans up 3-2, leading 2-1. The South Africans guaranteed either a gold or a silver, and that would be their first medal of any kind at this Olympiad. And, of course, their first since 1960, which was the last time they were allowed to compete. For the first time ever since women's basketball has been an Olympic event, the United States team will not go home with the silver or the gold medal. Because of their loss to the unified team, they can now only win a bronze medal, and they are taking on Cuba in that game. And right now, with it is a final, all right? It is a final. The USA has beaten Cuba for the bronze medal, 88-74, the final score. That avenges a loss to Cuba in the Pan Am Games. And 6 more medals coming at you. The U.S. just barely missing the bronze in the men's 500-meter single kayak event. A gold medal for Finland here. Hungary's 1988 gold medalist had to settle for silver. The German team took home the gold in the men's 500-meter kayak double. Poland was second for silver, the bronze going to Italy. In the men's canoe singles, the gold going to Bulgaria's Nikolai Bukalov, finishing 0.2 of a second in front of world champion Mikhail Slavinsky of the unified team. In the men's canoe doubles, the unified team gets the gold, the silver to Germany, the bronze to Bulgaria. Back to the kayaks. Germany's Birgit Schmidt won the women's 500 single kayak. She was the silver medalist in '88. The German women won the doubles in the 500 kayak. Sweden takes the silver, Hungary the bronze. The medal count now looks like this. The U.S. now within 2, 90-88, as the unified team still holds the lead in the overall medal count on the 13th day. We'll be back with more Olympic news and updates at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. But for now, let's go back across the catwalk and rejoin Linda Cohn.
It's not Lewis against Powell, but baseball's National League West showdown between the Atlanta Braves and Cincinnati Reds have had its share of memorable moments. Unfortunately for Reds fans, Cincinnati hasn't experienced many of those moments. Thursday night, the Reds were looking to avoid being swept up by the Braves. And this was a story of the good and bad. Top of the first, all good for Cincy. Second batter facing John Smoltz is Reggie Sanders. And Reggie does his thing to left, hitting a home run off Smoltz. Not an easy task, 1-0 Reds. The bad for the Reds, top of the third, Dave Martinez picked off at second to end the inning. The bad for Atlanta, bottom third, Greg Olson on second. Mark Lemke with a hit. Paul O'Neill comes up firing. Olson out by a mile at the plate. The good for the Braves, same inning, 1-0 Reds. Otis Nixon lining a shot up the middle. Lemke and John Smoltz both score. It's 2-1 Braves. Top of the ninth, the good continues, 5-3 Atlanta. John Smoltz's reaction here says it all. After he blew away Joe Oliver, the final 5-3 Braves. Reds are swept by the Braves in Atlanta for the first time in 10 years. These two teams singing "See You in September." They'll play 5 in that month. By the way, Bip Roberts, who crashed into the wall Wednesday, was in uniform, but he is listed at day-to-day. Back to John Smoltz, who has been sensational for Atlanta. His best numbers over the past 3 seasons have come in the second half. Smoltz is 25-8 since the All-Star break 1 year ago. Pirates looking to win their 7th straight, facing the very frustrated Cards. Tom Pagnozzi striking out with runners on in the 12th. Now, if he could only break his bat.
Right about now.
Come on, Tom, you can do it. Way to go, Tom. More Cards frustration, bottom 12, 2 on, 2 out. Ozzie Smith, he is robbed here by Jose Lean, who flips to second for the force. What a play. Game goes to the 13th. Top of the 13th, 1 on, 1 out. John Wiener popping up his bunt attempt. Look at this diving grab by Craig Wilson. Wow. Pirates up 2-1 in 13th inning, looking for some insurance. Jose Lean singling up the middle. Good enough to score Jeff King. 3-1 Pirates. You know, it's a good thing they scored that extra run because Felix Jose homered at the bottom of the 13th. The Pirates hang on to win it 3-2. The Pirates make it 9 wins out of 11 against St. Louis. Lee Smith loses to the Buccos for the second time in 4 days. Montreal was looking to keep pace as they opened a 4-game set with the Phils. Kenny Hill on the mound, helping his own cause here, catching Lenny Dykstra fast asleep at first. But this night belonged to Delino DeShields. Delino, pulls one over the right field wall, a solo shot, his 6th home run of the year. 3-1 Expos. Next inning, another home run, this time a 3-run blast for Mr. DeShields. That made it 7-1 Expos, his first 2 home run game of his career. 7-4 Expos was the final. DeShields has just killed the Phils this year, but then again, who hasn't? A batting average of .432 against Philadelphia, so Montreal does keep pace with Pittsburgh. They remain 2.5 out. Jack?
In the American League, 600 baseball was just 1 win away for Oakland. The first-place A's were going for a 4-game sweep in Texas, but a legend stood in their way, Nolan Ryan, the only starter in the American League this season with more strikeouts than innings pitched. The Express would leave the station at high speed. Top of the first, Jerry Brown gets the bender. Sit down.
Strikes him out.
Carney Lansford, low smoke, grabs some pine. Jose Canseco, fans decide in order to start things off. 2 on, 2 out for Canseco in the 4th. Ryan paints the black. Canseco a little unhappy, can't wing it. Next time up, Ryan gets a little help. Canseco goes down for the 3rd time, and while he argues, we'll tell you that Ryan has 215 double-digit strikeout games, more than twice as many as Sandy Koufax, who is 2nd all time. 0-0 in the 7th. Jerry Brown pops one past Dean Palmer. Willie Wilson and Walt Weiss score. It's 2-zip Oakland into the top of the 8th. Willie Wilson comes to the plate again, and Nolan kneecaps him. Richie Garcia gives Ryan the heave-ho. Ryan says it's the first ejection of his 26-year career. The fans go off. A couple of them get thrown out. They litter the field with debris, and Oakland goes on to win it 2-0 as Ryan gets sent to the showers. The Rangers have gone south, losing their 4th in a row, their 7th out of 8. They're 7 up, 14 down since the All-Star break. That's .333 ball. Kelly Downs allows only 5 hits in 6 1/3 innings. The Chi Sox complete a 3-game sweep of Minnesota. Chicago has won 4 straight and 8 out of 9. Kirk McCaskill improves to 9-2 lifetime against Minnesota. The White Sox picked utility man Scott Heeman off waivers and sent Warren Newson to AAA Vancouver on Thursday evening. They also moved Bo Jackson off the 40-man roster, leaving 1 spot vacant. Toronto at Detroit. Frank Tanata with 229 career wins against Jack Morris with 229 career wins. 3-zip Jays in the 3rd. Dave Winfield unreels about 12 miles of court on that one. That'll conduct some electricity. 5-0 Toronto. Winfield gets all and sees all. So it's a slugfest you want. You came to the right place, says Cecil Fielder. In this game, the Tigers get the last blast, but the Jays are too far out in front. The final, Toronto 15, Detroit 11. The joke's on Devon White, over 6, and Pat Borders, who goes over 5. Everybody else got a hit who started the game for Toronto. 2 Detroit errors and 10 walks by Tigers pitchers allow Toronto to score its 15 runs on only 11 hits. Linda?
For those of you who believe professional athletes' salaries are way out of whack, you might want to be sitting down and strapped in when you hear what the Orlando Magic are expected to be paying their top draft pick, Shaquille O'Neal. The Shaq, the 7'1" center at LSU, was the most dominant player in college basketball the last 2 seasons. Well, now it looks like O'Neal will be dominating in yet another category. The Magic has called a news conference for Friday, but have not confirmed the topic of discussion will be a done deal for O'Neal. But the word is only fine-tuning is needed. The Shaq package expected to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $40 million over 6 or 7 years, a deal even Mickey Mouse is drooling over. O'Neal getting $3.5 million his first season and just under $10 million in year 7, if there is a year 7. Orlando is also expected to announce they've matched the offer sheet by Dallas for Stanley Roberts. No word yet on how the Magic will perform magic by fitting the salaries of O'Neal and Roberts under the salary cap.
There's more to come on this edition of SportsCenter. If the U.S. Open's 3.5 weeks away, Jimmy Connors must be tuning up.
And the NFL preseason gets up to speed this weekend. Chuck Knox returns to Seattle with the Rams. And north of the border, as goes the Rocket, so go the Argos. We'll check out the CFL too, eh?
This Olympic update is brought to you by Advil in tablets or caplets. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Some people think he's a Superman, but when a 45-year-old has to throw 75 fastballs, even Nolan Ryan's muscles can ache. So after the game, it's the medicine doctors recommend most for sprains and strains, Advil.
For me, it's a couple of Advil, and those muscle aches are long gone. And Advil's gentler on my stomach than aspirin.
Today, it isn't aspirin or Tylenol acetaminophen. It's Advil.
I feel ready to go another 9 innings.
Advil, tablets and caplets, advanced medicine for pain.
Let me tell you the real story behind most orange juices. The fact is, they take out nature's water to form a concentrate, then put different water back in. Strange, isn't it? Tropicana Pure Premium, on the other hand, has nothing added and nothing taken away. Just 100% pure orange juice. So when you want the fresh squeezed taste of this, try Tropicana Pure Premium. The story behind our juice is pretty much out in the open. Tropicana Pure Premium. You just can't pick a better juice.
Bye-bye, Boomsy.
Us Magazine calls Raising Cain one of the most cinematically satisfying movies of the summer.
I
want to know what you've done with Amy.
Well, I don't know where she is. A breathless why, a head-spinning, mind-bending, maniacal thriller. Raising Cain is a shocker, says People magazine. Director Brian De Palma at last has his Psycho. Raising Cain, rated R, now playing at theaters everywhere.
Where can you use the Players Club card? Las Vegas, Atlantic City, the Caribbean, on cruise ships. Sometimes you just need to get away from it, all right? But these days, you gotta be smart about it. With a Players Club card, you save 50% off your room, 25% off food and drinks, up to 50% off shows. The Players Club card. Have some fun the smart way.
New members get 2 free nights in Las Vegas or Atlantic City when the club books their flights. Call toll-free right now. There's no obligation.
The halfway point is in sight in the Astros' long, strange, Republican-sponsored road trip. Houston hauled itself into San Diego for the 4th of 8 series on the 4-week trip. They were facing Andy Bennis, who has 2 shutouts this season, both against the Stros. At Jack Murphy Stadium, the Padres with a game of one-upsmanship. Gary Sheffield at the plate in the first inning, and he jumps all over Brian Williams, and that ball is out of here. It's 2-0 Padres. Next hitter, and that ball is going to be out of here to make it back-to-back home runs. 458 feet, second longest dinger of the year. Next inning, Sheffield at the plate, and that ball would be located out of here. 2 homers on the night, 5 ribbies, 6-1 Padres. Next man up as Sheffield looks on. Fred McGriff back-to-back and back-to-back. That ball is going to be out of here. 7-1. Padres go on to win 7-5. Only twice before in Major League history have players hit back-to-back homers twice in the same game. Sheffield and McGriff join Ralph Kiner and Hank Greenberg, who did it for the Pirates in '47, and Ernie Banks and Dee Fondy, who did it for the Cubs in 1953. The Mets were at Wrigley. First man up for the Cubs is Sammy Sosa, and he is swinging against Wally Whitehurst, fouling it right off his left ankle. Sosa would leave the game with a contusion. Doug DeCenzo grabs a helmet and gets into the game and hits a single and a double, and then drives one to right. Dave Gallagher going back, gets flesh instead of leather on that one, and it goes for a triple. The final is the Cubs 5 and the Mets 2. Greg Maddux strikes out 8 and walks only 2. The Mets lose their 3rd in a row, and they fall 5 games under 500. Linda?
Well, Jack, they were rocking at Seattle's Kingdome Thursday night. No, U2 was not in town, but the Seahawks were facing Los Angeles Rams as both teams opened up their preseason. The game marked the return of head coach Chuck Knox to Seattle. Knox beginning his 2nd stint at the Ram helm. But it was his old team, though, striking first Kelly Stauffer, who's trying to replace Dave Craig as the #1 guy, hits Tommy Kane for the 19-yard touchdown. Stauffer 7 of 14 for 66 yards. Tom Flores likes it, 7-zip Seattle. Jim Everett got it back quickly. Everett, who Knox calls the most talented QB he's ever coached, finds Jim Price in traffic for the touchdown. We're tied up at 7. Second quarter action now. Everett looking for a more familiar target, Flipper Anderson. He holds on for the touchdown. 14-7 Rams. Mike Pagel added another TD pass. So much for ground chuck. It was air chuck. 21-7 Rams win. A former Seahawk, Jeff Chadwick, the leading receiver for the Rams, 5 catches, 74 yards. Let's go north of the border now, where the Rocket was looking to blast off against the Eskimos. Hey, Argo co-owner Wayne Gretzky watching his Rocket score a touchdown here. 9-3 Argos. Late second quarter, Rocket returning the ball 40 yards. Watch this. Number 25 gets hammered. Rocket needed some help finding himself after that huge hit. He sat out the second half with a slight concussion, but you know what? The Argos didn't need him. They won 32-6. Jack?
The Eagles will have their quarterback back for Saturday night's game at Pittsburgh, but now they're without their top receiver. Fred Barnett dove for a ball in practice Thursday. He separated his left shoulder. Could be back for the season opener on September 6th. And 10 years after being drafted #1 overall by the New England Patriots, defensive end Ken Sims was released by Buffalo. Washington's backup signal caller, if you will, was in action on Thursday at the Bengals camp. Vice President Dan Quayle abandons the conservative game plan, and yes, he goes to his left. As if there's a bad spell on that hot potato, it falls as unfulfilled as a campaign promise. We'll have more baseball news when SportsCenter continues. You knew somebody was going to pick up Juan Samuel in a hurry. We'll tell you who.
And we'll also check in with the American League's leading hitter. Edgar Martinez takes his hot streak to Milwaukee. We'll take a break and be back in a minute.
Excuse me, do you know...
You just can't beat Wiley Musser GMC truck. For work or play, we've got the truck for you. Rugged Sierra pickups, all new Suburbans, roomy vans, sporty Sonomas. The entire GMC truck line at unbeatable prices. For 30 years, Musser's been doing it right. Get the respect you deserve, the service you expect, and more truck for your buck at Wiley Musser GMC truck. Highway 80 West, Terrell, Texas.
American as apple pie and pickup trucks, and as Texan as cowboy boots and jeans. A world-famous Mesquite Championship Rodeo. High-value Texas fun with nasty bulls, world-class action, great for the family and all indoors. There's barbecue, great country music, and cute stuff for the kids. So come be a cowboy this weekend and tell everybody you did. Mesquite Championship Rodeo, a whole night of real Texas fun. Friday and Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Call 222-BULL.
Defending champion Rocky Thompson high steps with the Mary Max and Chi-Chi as the digital classic makes its television debut, beginning Friday live on ESPN.
Welcome back to SportsCenter. California Angels manager Buck Rogers, who is recovering from injuries suffered in a bus accident more than 2 months ago, will return to the helm August 28th now. That word coming Thursday. Ironically, the Angels will be playing the Yankees on the 28th. The same team the Angels faced the day the accident occurred. Thursday, the Halos were in Kansas City. Bottom 4, 2 on Royals down 1-0. Brian McRae hits one into left center. Junior Felix and Rob Ducey go bang, and George Brett comes home. Jeff Conine scores 2, and so does McRae, for that matter, who gets credit for the inside-the-park home run. Royals lead 3-1. But the game was tied at 6, bottom 8. Chuck Prim facing Mike McFarland, who breaks out of a 5 for 39 slump with that shot. Royals win this one 8-7. George Brett with a triple in this one, his 133rd of his career, tying the all-time club record with Willie Wilson. He also had a double too, his 634th, tying him with Hank Aaron for 8th on the all-time list. And once again, that final was Kansas City 7, California 6. By the way, the Royals signed recently released Dodger Juan Samuel. In Milwaukee, Jamie Navarro facing Seattle, looking for his 12th win. Top of the first, man on third. Navarro can't find the plate. His second wild pitch. Edgar Martinez scores. Seattle up 1-0. But the game was tied at 1 in the 6th. Paul Molitor on second. Donnie Bichette on first. Remember, these are the Brewers, so they run. That's the double steal. Shane Turner can't handle it. Molitor scores. Bichette scores. Brewers lead 3-1. They went on to win this game 4-2. Molitor's steal was his 400th of his career, the 58th player in Major League history to reach that milestone. Robin Yount had a single. He's now within 29 hits of 3,000. Mariners have lost 5 straight, but one of their bright spots, Edgar Martinez, has been awesome. Martinez had 4 hits Thursday, extending his hitting streak to 10 games. Edgar is percentage points right now ahead of John Kruk to lead the major leagues in hitting. In New York, the Yankees were losers to Boston 3-1. Boston's John Marzano with an RBI triple, his first triple in 423 big league at-bats. New York's Roberto Kelly suffering his first ever 2-error game. The Yanks suffer their 10th loss in their last 12.
Thursday was to have been the night that Jimmy Connors met Bjorn Borg for the first time since the 1981 U.S. Open, but Borg got blown out in the first round of the L.A. tournament, leaving Connors to play Chris Pridham. Not quite the same marquee value, but there's a guy who knows something about marquees. Dustin Hoffman at the match. Connors loses the first set, but here he is in the second, drawing Pridham to the net, passing him down the line with the backhand, and he pulls even. Connors from the far side now. Pretty basic stuff. Serve, approach, backhand, volley, puts it away. 6-4 in the third set. Connors advances. Second-seeded Richard Krajicek wins, but number 4, Alexander Volkov, and number 7, David Wheaton, get bounced. When SportsCenter rolls on, bet you didn't know there were sandy beaches in Michigan, but these guys can find them. Golf news.
This is Reader's Digest. This is Konica. Why you turn to Reader's Digest. Why Reader's Digest turns to Konica. So if you know this company, you should know this company. Because Konica contributes to Reader's Digest. This is Federal Express. This is Konica. Why you use Federal Express? Why Federal Express uses Konica. So if you know this company, you should know this company. Because Konica delivers for Federal Express.
Can you handle the August heat of ESPN? Sizzling sports in August on ESPN.
Next week, the PGA in St. Louis. For now, Brad Fable leads by 2 over Wayne Grady in Grand Blanc, Michigan. Defending PGA champ John Daly isn't playing this week. The ladies are at Stratton Mountain, Vermont. Sherry Steinhauer hasn't won on the LPGA Tour in her 7-year career. Dottie Mockery has won 3 times already this season.
One thing about boxing, there's never a dull moment. Get a load of this undercard fight from ESPN's Thursday night fights. Take a look. Shane Sutcliffe on the right, Paul the King Presley on the left. Sutcliffe with a couple of shots on Presley. They lean against the ropes, and the ropes go, and so do the fighters. Can we look at this again? Yes, please. It's worth a second look. Presley's and Sutcliffe's weight together, just too much for the ropes. This Presley also with a serious weight problem. By the way, the fight went the distance with Sutcliffe winning.
Very nice, very nice. Coming up, something that perhaps you did not know about the Olympic Games.
But first, here's a look at today's best. First in Atlanta, Chris Sabo, the grounder in the hole. Jeff Blauser showing, hey, he's got the range and gets Sabo. In St. Louis, Ozzie Smith, the liner. Barry Bonds doing his thing to the turf, robs him. Finally, defense in a 15-11 game, sure, by Candy Maldonado, sprawling out to rob Travis Fryman. All part of today's best.
Today's Best is brought to you by the people at Nike, who encourage you to just do it.
You start it every morning. Start after start after start. When most of your oil is still down in a pad, you start metal-to-metal contact. You start engine wear. Now help stop it with the latest breakthrough from STP. New engine treatment. It bonds right to engine parts. Independent tests proved it. Just add a quart at your next oil change and help stop engine wear before you start with new STP engine treatment.
Where can you use the Players Club card? Las Vegas, Atlantic City, the Caribbean, on cruise ships. Sometimes you just need to get away from it, all right? But these days, you gotta be smart about it. With a Players Club card, you save 50% off your room, 25% off food and drinks, up to 50% off shows. The Players Club card. Have some fun the smart way.
New members get 2 free nights in Las Vegas or Atlantic City when the club books their flights. Call toll-free right now. There's no obligation.
Have you seen who's been on Speed Week? Speed Week starts off the Thunder every Saturday night. Catch us this week at 7:30 Eastern for the latest in motorsports. You've got the need for Speed Week.
Good Friday morning. The American League's 2 pitching surprises of 1992 collide today. Kevin Brown against Dave Fleming. The rest of the big league schedule follows. Schembechler says he's got a beef with Tigers owner Tom Monahan. Monahan is trying to sell his team, and he recently fired Bo, who had been club president. Bo says Monahan promised him employment for 10 years, and Bo also is saying he is prepared to sue.
Well, by now you're probably aware of the $25 million that Reebok spent on the Dan and Dave decathlon campaign. All they got out of it was the bronze medal won by Dave Johnson. Czech Robert Zmelik took the gold.
Yeah, but leave it to ad executives to figure out a way to come out on top. Did you know that Zmelik wore Reebok shoes while he was winning his decathlon? And believe it or not, he wasn't paid for it. He wears them because he likes them. What a concept. I can get used to that, Jack.
Yeah, so lace up your shoes, have a nice workout. Remember, train, don't strain, but don't forget to sweat. And I'm Jack Edwards.
I'm Linda Cohn. See ya.